Alright friends, it's Tina back man with a video on the bomba clot man himself, JasonBlaha, the bomba clot man, the Ras clot bomba clot man. We're gonna do a fucking reaction video to the bomba clot himself. JasonBlaha, the gym, lifting, recruiting, fitness slave himself, says is post-workout protein critical for gains. Not if it reaches a domain limit. Like him, he's reached his domain limit long time ago. That's why he's not growing.
Is the post-workout anabolic window that big of a deal? Hey, everybody, it's JasonBlaha.
If you could just lift the weight, then everyone would be doing it. If you could just lift the weight and it would build a muscle magically out of thin air, everybody would be doing it. That's why nobody out there is lifting weights. Only the lifting slaves in gyms. You understand me? If you go out to the general public in the world, they're not lifting slaves. They don't want to go to the gym. They don't want to lift any weights. Why? Because their instincts tell them fake. All they do is look at these gym goers going to the gym and they go, I'm not going to enslave myself to that. Just to look like that, like nothing, just to keep lifting weights for no reason. They're busy. They're going to go to work. They want money. They want to have a life, a woman, kids, this, that. They want to do a bunch of stuff. They don't want to enslave themselves to a gym. And it's easy to enslave yourself to something. It's kind of what you would call an addiction. You become addicted to it, and then you pursue it vigorously forever. Even if you are failing at it, people will fail at stuff and pursue it. They'll pursue it, and they'll fail the rest of their lives. There's many people like that out there. They don't understand the concept of what bodybuilding really is.
Here, I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today.
Bodybuilding is not about getting skinny like him. But if you want a cosmetic look, well, people take drugs, right? And, well, they consider this a cosmetic look if you lower your body fat. So then you can see all these lines. You want to see lines. That's cosmetic. That isn't based on bodybuilding whatsoever. That isn't the concept of bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is about building your body. That's all it is, really. But how do you build it?
And one of those interesting topics that's been way overblown, way over-highlighted for years based upon some old studies. However, the reality is...
I'm going to have to agree with JasonBlaha about the post-protein workout critical for gains, because... It's not, because your gains came in the beginning and there's no more gains, so there's no point. Let's just put it this way. I'm gonna use some real proof, not like him speaking. I'm gonna use real proof because he's gonna say something in this video partly way in.
Again, it has been overhyped a little bit, and I'm not saying you should completely ignore it. What I'm saying is the evidence is a little bit different than what people have been told. Like for a long time, people used to say, oh, if you don't get your protein in immediately after workout, it was a completely wasted workout. You're just breaking down muscle, blah, 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 okay? And that's just simply not the reality. You have to... No.
You're wasting your time. Remember, there's a window for protein buildup and a window for protein breakdown. Okay, let's bring up the real science. Let's dive deeper. When muscle protein synthesis exceeds muscle protein breakdown, muscle hypertrophy, aka muscle growth, occurs, says Dr. Dina Nima, whatever. This is also an NCBI right here, down here at the bottom. There it is, right there. See that? Hold on a second. I don't know if it'll come up. So there's a window for breakdown and a window for, you can see here, there's a window for breakdown and a window for buildup. So yeah, usually I don't know why it won't come up. Yeah, I don't know why it's not bringing it up, man. No, I don't know. It keeps bringing up this one right here. This is the one from NCBI. Sometimes I'm able to bring it up. The computer can say it for you. I don't know. Sometimes I get it wrong, but whatever. So there's a window for protein buildup and there's a window for protein breakdown. And that's all you're really doing in there. Unless you have some damaged muscle fibers, but you're not damaging. He used to say in his videos he's damaging muscle fibers, didn't he? He would always say that.
To understand, you have protein turnover happening all the time where you're breaking down.
Yeah, turnover is happening all day long. And when you go to the gym, you just increase muscle protein turnover. And I'll explain why.
Hundreds of grams of protein from muscle a day, even without working out, recycling it.
Yeah. How come he's not growing? How come he's not growing?
All these things happen. Okay, there's stuff happening there. All right, furthermore,
his arms are never growing, yet he's lifting. Why don't they grow? I thought a stronger gets you a bigger if you lift a stronger.
Just not that much protein that we actually eat.
I thought that lifting weights builds a muscle. Don't they build muscles? Hey, Blaha. They build muscles, don't they? Right?
Directly contributes to building muscle.
Yeah.
Just not that much protein that we actually eat directly contributes to building muscle tissue. A lot of
Really? It contributes to building muscle tissue? What is it building? Nothing. You're not building anything. It's a lie. They've lied to you, the industry, the fitness industry, Blaha. They're all lying to you. That's the problem.
it has to do with just breaking less down from training. But I digress. Let's get over to the point of what kind of were the
They're lying to you. They're lying to you.
studies that were done on this. All right, all the studies that were done on this, you have to keep in mind when you're doing a lot.
Yeah, that cytoplasm can get massive. That cytoplasm, there's 3 ways that muscles get big. And then one of them is the cytoplasm. That's sarcoplasmic. That cytoplasm can get really big.
A lot of scientific studies on nutrition. They're done fasted. Okay?
Let's just put it this way: sarcoplasmic. This sarcoplasm in the muscle, man, it can build up with fluid like crazy.
And that's an
It can hypertrophy through fluid like crazy. Yeah.
important factor. Just like when your doctor has blood work, they want your fasted glucose, they want your fasted insulin, your fasted lipids. See where we're going with this? Why? Because they can then control what you've had for the past 12 hours, 16 hours, whatever, right? There's no new food in your system that's going to disrupt what's happening that they don't have control of. It's an important point. Even, when they talk about glycemic index, that was always done only in a fasted state and with those foods eaten in isolation. Because if you eat anything else, it completely changes the response, and what you eat actually would change it. So if you've had a previous meal earlier in the day, it will absolutely change all those values depending upon the composition of the meal. So when they did all these studies on post-workout shakes, they had the people fast overnight. They were training fasted. Now, interesting, I actually personally do that, and a lot of people do. I train fasted.
That's just a fancy word for starvation. He trains starved. He starves his body and trains. That is the worst thing you can do. That causes an apoptosis. That causes an apoptosis in cells. Yeah. Plus, he eats an artificial diet, which is causing these senescent cells to build up and a bunch of things. DNA damage.
I get better workouts. Feel like
Yes, accelerated aging, more accelerated aging. Here's the thing. If you go in there starved and you lift, that accelerates aging even more. That causes more stress on your body. Blaha's crazy. He thinks the more stress you cause, the better it is for you to age. And he may be right, yes. The more stress you cause, the more you age. Yes, look like 85-year-old man at 47. Okay.
helping me get leaner, all this diet control, all these things.
Sure.
All right.
Yes, get leaner, diet, all these things, all these bad things you're doing to your body, manipulating it, okay?
That's what they did. Now keep in mind, so if these people are getting up training 8, 9 in the morning and they haven't had food for over 12 hours or maybe 16 hours.
That's crazy, man. That's just nuts.
Their muscles are in a different state in terms of
No, their muscles are in a defense state. Their body is in a defense state. It's going to start increasing hormones to preserve you because you're starving. And you're starving anyways because the majority of your food is cooked, it's killed, you cook it, you fry it, you do whatever to it. Plus you eat artificial food. And You're always deficient in nutrients. That's why you have to eat all day long, 4, 5, 6 meals a day, because you're all starving. The starving compilation.
Readiness and in terms of what they need. Okay? Completely different. So yes, if you were training completely fasted, you have a much smaller time to where you really will benefit enormously immediately after, and that's where these studies were done. Okay, they were done in people who hadn't had any calories, any protein, any carbohydrates for 12 or 16 hours, and they lift.
Oh yeah.
All right, yeah, that made a difference. A post-workout shake.
You could fucking traumatize yourself doing that. You could die. I think a girl in Mexico died doing that, starvation and doing squats, and then she died. Yeah.
For people who train fasted, absolutely more beneficial.
Yeah, it's beneficial train fasted, starved, going to the gym, so that if you get dizzy or pass out, the weight will land on the back of your neck and kill you, like the rest of these lifters that go trained starved in the gyms. Yes, I've seen people pass out in gyms. They go in there starved. They do so many crazy things, man. One person almost died, I think, in the gym I went to. Fucking weight went flying down on him or something. Crazy. Another one passed out. He fell backward and hit his head against like this post. He woke up. There was blood on his head.
Is what the labs generally show.
The labs show that people can be insane. The labs are doing that for something very specific.
Okay? If you get a shake in within the next hour, absolutely worth muscle growth versus waiting. Absolutely.
You're not building any muscle. You're not building any muscle, and neither is anybody else out there in the gym. You're all just wasting your time. You're wasting your time, man. You might as well go do things that give you pleasure, like me. I play sports, play basketball, throw some hoops and stuff. Go to the park and have fun, like with the monkey bars or something. I don't know. Do some fun stuff, bro. Enjoy yourself. Do some hops, some skips, run, do a little sprint. You know what I mean? Kick a soccer ball around. That's fun. That gives you pleasure to score a goal or something. Do something, dude. But this is not the way. Gyms are great for causing some damage and then rebuilding your muscles bigger and stronger, but that's about it.
But it's just about the protein at that point. And at that point, it really is just slowing down, your body degrading protein and breaking it down further. But that's also then dependent.
Your body degrading and breaking down. Your body's building up and breaking down protein all day long. Okay, so you go to the gym and you're adapted. Let's say you go to the gym and you're adapted to this damage. There's no more damage. You're adapted. There's no more growth, right? Okay. What you doing there exactly? What you doing there? Oh, I'm getting better at lifting a heavy weight. For what purpose? Are you going to work in a moving company to move fucking heavy weights? Like, what exactly are you fucking going there for? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. You want to get stronger? Why? What's the matter with you? You weak or something?
On the type of workouts you do. Are your workouts really high in muscle damage? They don't.
There you go. Are your workouts high in muscle damage? Did he just mention that?
Need to be. Because muscle damage is not an actual factor in muscle growth. This has been determined.
So he says that muscle damage is not an actual fact and has been determined. Okay, let's see if it's been an actual fact and determined, muscle damage, whether it's a fact or determined. Let's see. How do muscles get damaged? Let's find out. Hold on a second. Let's find out. Here's one. Delayed onset is a feature of untrained muscles that occur. This is a good one up here. Delayed onset muscle soreness, DOMS, is a unique feature of untrained muscles that occurs after unaccustomed or strenuous exercise. I don't know why the computer's not speaking anymore. So here it is. A unique feature of eccentric exercise is that untrained subjects become stiff and sore the day afterwards because of damage to muscle fibers. So how do muscles get damaged? They're damaged when they're what? Untrained. Untrained subjects get this damage. Okay. If you're untrained, you get this damage. Okay. What's followed up with that damage? What happens when muscles get damaged? Well, they release these things, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, muscle damage from eccentric exercise. And this comes from NCBI. Okay, so you go here, you. So let's find out about this unique feature of untrained muscles that get stiff and sore due to muscle damage. So we go to nuclei acquired by overload exercise. Precedes hypertrophy, not lost on detraining. Okay. There's a map down here. There's a map down here. It says untrained first training. There you go. Untrained and first training. So what's a unique feature of untrained muscles when you come into the gym? They get stiff and sore due to what? Muscle damage. Okay. Look, the satellite cell fusion. How do you get the satellite cell to fuse? How do you get it to fuse to that fiber? It has to be damaged. It has to come out of quiescence, but it has to be in a damaged state. And then it donates its nuclei, its cells and everything, fibroblast cells, they fuse with this, and then they hypertrophy. But look, there's no more going on here, no more hypertrophy when you detrain, retrain. Why is that? Why do you need these nuclei? It even tells you in this model, previously untrained muscles acquire newly formed nuclei by fusion of satellite cell. Previously untrained muscles. It doesn't say that trained muscles get these nuclei. It says that untrained gets it. So what exactly are you doing there in the gym? It even tells you up here, if you scroll back up here, our data support this simple diagram. Consistent myonuclear domain volume in which nuclei are acquired during hypertrophy and then lost during atrophy. They're lost during atrophy. Okay. They say it's permanent. I don't know if something can be permanent. I know the repair and the remodeling can be permanent. I don't know about these nuclei. So they say they are lost. Thus, we would suggest a different model, okay, in which previously untrained fibers acquire new nuclei through a first training bout. Yeah, this newly acquired nuclei are causally related to the subsequent fiber enlargement. For example, because limitations in the synthetic capacity for each nucleus might be limited to support the larger domain without increasing the number. See that? On subsequent detraining, the fibers maintain an elevated number of nuclei that might provide resistance to atrophy on retraining. To gain in size can be obtained by a moderate increase in the protein synthesis. So what do these nuclei do? They synthesize protein. So the rate of each of these many nuclei, skipping the step skipping the step of adding newly formed nuclei, this shortcut may contribute to the relative ease of retraining compared with the first training of individuals with no previous training history. There you go. That's what it looks like. It tells you, there's a whole bunch of other stuff here. It tells you a bunch of other things about nuclei. You can scroll up here. It tells you a bunch of things here. Fiber size, hypertrophy preceding the addition. We showed that increase in fiber size during overload hypertrophy precedes by addition of nuclei. Thus, the increase in size could be causally related to the higher total protein synthesis capacity of larger number of myonuclei. This increase in nuclei seems to be lasting and not dependent on maintaining hypertrophy because severely atrophied fibers maintain an elevated number of nuclei after 3 months of subsequent denervation. Yeah. So there you go. So I don't know what he's talking about. You need this damage. You need damage, and here's another reason why it contributes. He says it does not contribute to any hypertrophy whatsoever. He's lying to you. Go to my community section. Right? In this section here, I posted this here. In some instances, EIMD, exercise-induced muscle damage, may be beneficial because it can increase muscle hypertrophy. Yeah, that's what they're talking about, beneficial. An increase in muscle mass, yes. This happens as the small tears in the muscle tissue releases muscle proteins that are used in generating new muscle cells. You understand me? In order to further that domain, you need more cells. Without cells, doesn't matter how much protein you eat. So Blaha's wrong, and they tell you 3 things here that cause this muscle to grow. There are 3 things here, 3 pathways, and they'll tell you here it correlates with ATP tissue. This happens to be one of them, it says here, skeletal muscle can grow three ways: by generating of new, what is this? Hold on a second, fucking. I had to do something here, sorry. Syncytial fibers, addition of nuclei from muscle stem cells to existing fibers, or increase in cytoplasmic volume. So what's the increase in cytoplasmic volume? So you get these muscle nuclei. What do the nuclei do? Synthesize protein. What does the sarcoplasmic volume do? Cytoplasmic is sarcoplasmic. Get it? We have two types of hypertrophy. We have myofibrillar and we have sarcoplasmic. So evidence suggests, and one is artificial, sarcoplasmic. Evidence suggests that latter two processes contribute to exercise-induced growth. They do. Those are the two that, those are the main two that contribute to growth. But guess what? How do you get these nuclei? Well, the muscles have to be damaged. It has to contribute its nuclei. It can only do it in a damaged state. Yeah. Unless, of course, you're a very fat guy weighing 600 pounds walking down the street and you're forcing that domain. Fiber growth requires increase in sarcolemma surface area, cytoplasmic volume at different rates. It has been long known that high force exercise is particularly effective growth stimulus. Yeah, for what? Cytoplasmic? You understand me? But how this stimulus is sensed and drives coordinate growth and its appropriate scale across organelles remains a mystery. It's a mystery. But we know it's a mystery that how they're doing it, but it's doing it when it gets damaged. Here's another one. You're right, growth and exercise. There's three things. And number one, an increase in muscle cell numbers. That would be hyperplasia. Growth in muscle cell numbers. Then that happens when muscles are damaged. Number two, by an increase in muscle fiber diameter. By an increase in fiber length. Fiber length is a sarcomere number in muscle fibers in length. There you go. The three of these mechanisms are involved in muscle growth. However, growth in cell numbers is limited to the prenatal and immediate postnatal period. Yeah, somewhat. I wouldn't disagree. It's complicated, but you're not growing, so it doesn't matter. Here's another one right here. Hyperplasia. Does hyperplasia exist? Yes. They'll tell you here. Scientists have used these three models, studies of enlargement, compensatory hypertrophy, stretch, exercise. Each of these models prove direct as well as indirect evidence supporting the occurrence of muscle fiber hyperplasia. It does. This is an old study. I just put it here for fun. It does, because you need an increase in these fucking whatever, these nuclei, these cells and everything to grow. It says right here, satellite cells, all right? So additional expression and evidence for new fiber formation in stretch overload muscle. Furthermore, satellite cells have been shown to be involved in muscle fiber hyperplasia and stretch and exercise. Stretch and exercise, exercise and stretch, and yada, yada, yada. You understand me? So Blaha, he's full of shit, man.
Used to be, it was an old theory. Now, all of that being said, then people say,
see, it used to be, it's an old theory, it's just a theory.
well,
Yeah.
see, the science is always changing when it comes to the post-workout. No, the science didn't change.
No, nothing's changed. It's still the same. In order to further that domain, you need additional nuclei. Without them, forget it, bro. There's nothing going on there. That's why all of you are lifting slaves. You're wasting your time. The only thing you're getting better here at is lifting a heavy weight. And you're all small and weak.
People's conclusions of this.
Like Blaha, he's small, tiny, and weak. Bigger people are not threatened by Blaha. Big people that are like over 6 feet tall, 6'5", I don't know, 6'8", whatever, 7 feet tall, are not scared of Blaha. When they walk around, they don't give a shit about him.
Science changed. The data stayed the same. The data show.
The taller you are, the more domineering you are in public when you walk around. You dominate when you're tall. You don't dominate because you're good at lifting a heavy weight, walking in public. They don't care. They don't see what you lift. They only see what you look like.
That people who trained fast.
Listen to me. If you're a young person, focus on getting taller. Eat natural food. Stop eating fake food and you'll get taller. Eat organs, animal organs, meat, eat seafood. Try eating as raw as possible if you can. And that's it. That's all I have. That's all I could tell you. Grow as tall as you can. Be domineering when you walk in public, tall. I like being as tall as I am, but I would love to be taller. Why? Because when I walk in public, I dominate people. I see them. They're short. There's a lot of short people, more shorter people out there than tall people. So when I walk around, I feel so domineering when I walk around these people. I'm shopping. I go places. I feel domineering. Like I feel tall. I feel dominant.
But the researchers at first weren't noting, oh, hey, maybe it would probably be different.
People like Blaha and these people that suffer from manlet syndrome, they don't feel dominant, so they go and lift weights in the gym. That's why they have to lift.
If they weren't. Okay? That's, again, keep in mind, conclusions of the data. The data itself didn't change. The measurements were accurate. People in those studies gained more muscle with a post-workout shake.
What kind of muscle did they gain eating the post-workout shake? The shake was full of sugar. It isn't 100% protein. They gained the cytoplasm was what increased. The cytoplasm increased in the cell.
Trained, but it was largely because they trained.
Let's just put it this way. The sarcoplasm increased from these people eating these stupid shakes, okay? That's what they're doing. They're not increasing the nuclei or a lot of things. The diameter of the muscle fiber, the sarcomeres in parallel and in length. They're not even increasing those. There's nothing going on there because there's no damage.
Fasted. What we have found is that post-workout.
Think about it. If you're no longer damaging muscles and you come to the gym and you're lifting and you're eating carbs, you know that, and you're getting this thing called the pump. Is that associated with protein? No, protein doesn't pump your muscles up, but carbs sure do. So what's going on there exactly? And here's another thing. A lot of these people are not even eating enough carbs, so they're just inflaming their muscles by lifting these weights repetitively. Blaha is inflaming his muscles, lifting these weights repetitively. That's all he's doing, causing inflammation. That's why he's puffy with inflammation, constantly lifting in the garage or his prison. And he's not building any muscle, nothing going on here. If he wanted to lose body fat, how did he get fat to begin with? He ate shit. What did he do now? He lowered his calories. He's starving himself practically, or whatever the hell he's doing here. I don't know. But if you're on a natural diet, you don't have to starve yourself. You don't have to do anything. You'll become lean automatically.
Anabolic window lasts about 6 hours if you ate breakfast before you train.
That's not what they're talking about, anabolic window. They're talking about you going to the gym, breaking down proteins, and if you don't eat within a period of time, then your muscles shrink. That's why a lot of people complain and they say, I'm actually shrinking. They're shrinking because they didn't eat after they lifted in the gym. They were busy. They're like, I'm busy, I'll eat later, a couple hours later, whatever. They wait a long period of time. So they're going to the gym to do what exactly? To shrink their muscles. A lot of people are really stupid, man. They're really stupid when it comes to bodybuilding.
Meaning as long as you get some protein and carbohydrate in sufficient amounts within about 6 hours of finishing, you're usually in a good place. Right?
Yeah, you're in a good place to be a good lifting slave all over again, to do it all over again. Break down proteins and rebuild them again. Let's go to the gym and break down proteins and rebuild them. Break down proteins and rebuild them. And maybe if we eat carbs, we can fill up our muscles with these artificial sarcoplasmic muscles, hypertrophy them.
In a real good spot.
Fill them up with glycogen.
Personally, I personally, a lot of times, I've gotten more into the habit of doing that lately since I do the whole fasting thing.
Oh, yeah.
I hit a shake post-workout, but then I still don't eat any other food for a while. All right? Because we get what we need. We get the insulinogenic response. Whey protein is very insulinogenic. I don't necessarily have to have post-workout carbs.
Okay.
Not always necessary.
Right.
So again, something to think about. But yeah, that window is much, much, much bigger than we anticipated based upon those old studies. Now, that being said, people will say, but what about someone really chasing that last tiny bit? Could it matter? And I think that's a great question. And so here's what I would pose to people. Let's take the middle ground. The absolute evidence says it really is only for people who are fasted. But we also have evidence that muscles are heightened, higher insulin sensitivity, they're ready to uptake nutrients post-workout. See where we're going? If a person...
Okay, and you could do that just walking around all day. It's ready to take up nutrients and whatever and build up some protein. Think about it. What would happen if I walk around, okay, if protein synthesis needs to exceed this breakdown to see that mass on that myofibrillar, then do I need to go to a gym to see that mass? No, because protein has to exceed that breakdown, right? Okay, go and eat a bunch of protein. Let's see if you exceed that breakdown to see that mass on that myofibrillar. You're going to say, but I have to go to the gym to lift the weight. Okay, go lift the weight. You're adapted now. And what's going on there exactly? And then you're going to say, well, I'm not growing. I'm a hard gainer. You're not a hard gainer. You're not a hard gainer. And then you're like, I have to bulk, meaning you have to eat carbohydrates. Because then you realize, well, if I don't eat carbs, I can't get big. And you're like, I can't get big if I don't eat carbs. Like these asshole people in the comment sections of these channels. I see them, what they're writing, their comments. Well, if you don't eat carbs, you can't get big. Well, why can't you get big? Because muscles have a domain limit. Duh. And you don't even know how to bring this damage back, because that's it. A unique feature of untrained muscles, they get damaged due to what? Stiff and sore due to damage. And then what do they get? First training satellite cell fusion, hypertrophy. That's it.
We're trying to optimize. Like, let's say that your goal was to squeeze every last gram of muscle out that you could, and you optimize everything else already in your training, your lifestyle.
The best is when people tell you, hey man, you got to do this 30 days in a row, the same exercise 30 days in a row, and you're going to get a nucleus overload. Nowhere in nuclei overload precedes hypertrophy loss on detraining does it say that you need to lift 30 days in a row to get a nuclei overload. It says untrained first training, satellite cell fusion. It says newly formed nuclei are added in what? Previously untrained fucking muscles, man. You have to be retarded to believe that shit. That 30 days is going to cause this damage. Let's go there now. Hold on a second. I think it was this, right? Is this the map? Look what it says here. Untrained first training satellite cell fusion. What does it say here below? It says this model connected between muscle size, number of nuclei. Okay. It's the muscle size and number of nuclei. There's a connection. In this model, myonuclei are permanent. Previously untrained muscles acquire newly formed nuclei by fusion of satellite cells preceding hypertrophy. Does it say 30 fucking days in a row you acquire this fucking nuclei, bro? This is from the real study. Where the fuck does it say there that you gotta fucking lift 30 days in a fucking row to get an overload of these fucking nuclei? That is the most stupidest thing I ever heard. The reason why your muscles fucking adapt, they adapt so they don't damage anymore. They adapt, and if there's no damage, there's not a donation of these nuclei, like it says there. You understand me? That's why it's a unique feature of untrained muscles. They get stiff and sore due to what? Damage the next day. See this right here. This is the study. This is the nuclei overload. Myonuclei acquired by overload exercise precedes hypertrophy and are not lost on detraining. What was the exercise? First training satellite cell fusion. So I don't know what Blaha is talking about, or anybody online with their fucking stupid exercise, 30 days, whatever. That you don't need, that muscle damage is not a factor in hypertrophy. It is a factor. Without the damage, you can't wake up the quiescent satellite cells to donate their nuclei, so then they can support what? Further muscle growth, because they reach the ceiling limit during hypertrophic process beyond where they can donate any more extra nuclei to that domain to support further muscle growth. That is prenatal. Now, postnatal, you get them when you're untrained. You understand me? Yeah.
Would adding a fast absorbing protein post-workout be maybe possibly, hypothetically, a very small benefit? Yes. Would it therefore be a reasonable idea to do so? I'm going to go with yes.
Somebody asked me recently about this damage in the gym. Look, I could go in the following week and lift and not get any damage. You understand me? I can literally go in and not get any damaged. But here's the thing. I can go in that same week and get damaged. The difference between me not getting damaged and me getting damaged that week, coming back to the gym, doing it full upper body, is this. Is that I concentrate on the muscles getting damaged. But if you're not focused on getting damaged and you just do a bunch of exercise, run around like a lazy kind of thing, and you're not focused on getting this damage, then you won't get damaged. It's really simple. That's what I discovered. You have to discover it on your own. That's what bodybuilding's about. Go out there and fucking discover it. Don't ask questions and don't say that it doesn't work for you. Go and find out for yourself. You have to build up experience, but you lack experience like Blaha. All you people out there lack experience. You don't know anything about bodybuilding.
Gotta go with yes. And particularly something like a whey protein, an ultra high bioavailability, extremely anabolic protein. Yeah, absolutely.
Extremely anabolic protein. Protein is anabolic. Any protein is meat, whatever. Amino acids are anabolic, yes. But you to be in an anabolic state, well, that's totally different. You understand me? You need to be in positive nitrogen balance. Yeah.
Throw egg whites in the same category, right?
You might eat too many carbs and that throws you off being anabolic.
We start getting over to that. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're getting somewhere. I can get behind that, right? I can absolutely get behind that and say, yeah, that's a pretty good idea. It's not a bad idea at all, right? I would definitely consider one of those two. Absolutely consider one of those two. If you were trying to absolutely optimize everything, but keeping in mind the difference is going to be potentially too small to notice. But again, this is where we look at it and say, is there a hypothetical benefit? Yeah, absolutely could be. It's absolutely worth considering. And I would also say, all things considered, if you wanted to eat more of your protein post-workout, probably a really good time to do so. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative.
Thank God. It's been uninformative. He'll look like this forever. He'll never change. He'll either get fat or get skinny, but he's never building muscle. It's a lie. Even this doctor, she comes on, this lady, I forget her name. She's always telling you about building muscles important, all that. None of you are building muscles. You're not building any muscles. You're born with those muscle fibers, you're going to die with them. Unless you cause a catastrophic event like damage to the muscle fiber where there's a disturbance and that proteins are able to come out of there, then they'll increase in numbers. That's how they do it. You'll increase the muscle cells. But without that, forget it, bro. You're just wasting your time. See you in the next one. Ciao, friends.